Yeah, you can just point. It's not quite 10:59. Everybody, how are you doing? I see we have people already joining us. We want to welcome you to our virtual alumni homecoming showcase. Now, if you joined us last year, then you know that this is one of the conversations that we enjoy having with our esteemed alumni. So today, again, we want to welcome you to the 2021 virtual homecoming spotlight on success with our alumni. We're showcasing that's sponsored by the Career Pathways Initiative. So first, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Mayers, who is over this initiative and over this program today, and really shout him out for continuing to make sure that our alumni are showcased. And the purpose of today's event is to showcase our esteemed alumni of Voorhees College and the success that they have had in their careers over the years. I am excited because we have a diverse crowd today. We have a diverse panelist today, and they're going to be able to share things from years back and even years present. So before we move any further, I want to introduce our panelists. First, we have Dr. Latonya Gillespie-Johnson, who is the director and owner of Southern Pearl Dentistry. If you can put some claps in the comments, clap it up for Dr. Johnson. You know, I know we have 15 people on, so you guys probably know Dr. Johnson right now. So just shout her out. Ooh, Dr. Johnson, she's here. Second, we have Mr. Denzel James Antonio Walls, who is a graduate student at USC Dollar School of Business. Clap it up for Mr. Denzel Walls. This was our Mr. Voorhees, so you guys know who this guy is for sure. Clap it up for him. Next, we have Mr. Anson Garlington, who is supervisory special agent for the United States Department of State Bureau of Diplomatic Security. Now, if you know Mr. Garlington, please do me a favor, put some claps in the chat. Oh, there we go. Dr. Johnson, they're shouting you out already. So, Mr. Garlington, they're clapping it up for you. And lastly, we have Miss Tiffany Jordan, who is a radio chemistry analyst at the Gel Group. So if you know Miss Jordan, please put it in the chat. Shout out Miss Jordan. Clap it up for her. Let her know that you're excited to hear from her. So today, everyone that's watching, we have these esteemed alumni on, and we've had conversation prior to this broadcast beginning, and I am sure that they are excited. So if you guys, in just 1 minute, could you tell us what are some of the things, because we're homecoming week, right? What are some of the things that come to your mind when you think about homecoming? And Dr. Johnson, since you have on the white jacket, I want to start with you first. What are some of the things that come to your mind when you hear the word homecoming at Voorhees?
I think of reunion, fellowship, friends, parties, basketball, the parade. I'm looking
There
for
we
the
go.
Peace parade because I was
There we
visiting.
go.
So, I look for that stuff when I think about homecoming.
There we go. There we go. Mr. Denzel Walls, what do you think about, sir?
Oh man, I just think about the memories and the good times. I know I'm really looking forward to this year because COVID took away my last homecoming from me. So this year I'm trying to make it all back. So I'm just really excited to just see people, meet people I haven't met before, and just just enjoy it, man. This is homecoming is about.
Yes, sir. Now, Miss Jordan, I want to go to you. What are some things that come to your mind when you hear the word homecoming?
Oh, homecoming. I get excited of thinking about seeing all my friends, seeing faculty and staff on campus, being on the yard, just celebrating, getting to know the students that are on campus as well.
Last but not least, Mr. Garlington, what do you think about when you hear homecoming, sir?
All right, homecoming is that special time. It's not Christmas, but it's that special time of the year where we can all just get back to the Voorhees roots, to our Voorhees family. Just reflect on what we've been doing over the course of the year or years and stuff, and just let those just ideas amongst ourselves just gel amongst each other. I mean, you know, we've all been apart from each other for quite a while and stuff, but this is the time to sit back and reflect and gather those thoughts together, just reflect on those.
Yes, sir. So before we move any further, I want to be able to let our audience know how diverse our panel is as far as graduation, because we want to get some real good stories. Because Mr. Garlington, he said something about roots, and so I think that everyone has something that kind of carried them through their years. And so, what year did you all graduate? Let's start this time with Miss Jordan. What year did you graduate?
I graduated in 2002.
2002. So if anybody is on and you graduated 2002, she's representing for the class of 2002. Come on now, Mr. Denzel Walls. What year did you graduate, sir?
2021.
Okay. So knowing that, we probably got some 21 graduates on this call for sure, right?
Right.
Mr. Now I want to come to you last, Mr. Garlington, because you're gonna wrap it up for us. Because I see class of 99 in the building. So we're going to come back to that in a minute because we have somebody for you. So Dr. Johnson, what year did you graduate?
2009.
There we go. The class of 09 is in the building. If you graduated in 2009, you can just put it in the comments. 09 is in the building. 02 is in the building. 2021 is in the building. And last but not least, Mr. Garlington, when did you graduate, sir?
I graduated mighty class of 1989.
Wait. He said mighty class. Wait.
Mighty class.
Nobody else put a word in front of theirs.
That's right. Back in the day when dirt was still dirt.
There we go. There we go. The mighty class. And so as you all hear these different years of graduation, I'm sure that you can be able to just kind of identify some of the stories that you can gain from a person that's representing your class. You're like, oh man, I remember her at 09, 02, I remember her. So you can literally just begin to paint pictures because we're in homecoming. And homecoming, like Dr. Johnson said, it's a reunion, right? Homecoming is a reunion where you're coming back and seeing some of your people. So let's start off with some of our questions. And the first question we have for you all is, what helped you to become successful during your time here at Voorhees College? It's a two-part question, so I'll ask the next part. So what helped you to become successful during your time here at Voorhees College? Anybody can start.
I'll go first. I would say what helped me be successful at Voorhees College was my faculty, staff, family, and friends.
So when you say faculty, staff, family, and friends, who are some of those faculty that you know, like, look, if it had not been for her or him?
Absolutely. If it had not been for Dr. Cassandra Smith, she's no longer employed there, but she was my advisor in the science department. If it had not been for her pushing me to do internships and to train under her, I absolutely don't know where I would be career-wise. And then Linda Jefferson, she's over student support services, and she just encouraged anybody that came through her door to just continue to do good. If you needed help with anything, Mrs. Jefferson was absolutely there to help you out. So those two faculty and staff members were the ones that helped me become successful.
There we go. Now, before we move any further, I see some comments in the bottom of the screen. And what I want to do is encourage everyone that's on this call to make sure that you share with somebody else, because we're shouting out faculty and we see Miss Linda Jefferson who just joined us. And so we want you guys to share this information or share this call because somebody else may need to see it and say, hey, I remember her, I remember him. And those were the good old days, right?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Dr. Johnson, what helped you to become successful during your time here at Voorhees?
Honestly, I'm from Atlanta, so I ran home a lot. Truthfully,
Okay.
so that was my outlet. So to stay focused on campus, because Denmark didn't have too much to offer other than the sports and things that I played while I was there. I missed home more than anything. So me getting a break from the college life, going home and coming back and going home and coming back, that honestly kind of helped me stay focused because it kept me on the right path to understand where I knew I wanted to be. So that
Okay.
was my drive to stay focused. So me taking those Atlanta road breaks was what kind of made me stay focused when I came back to campus, honestly.
Got you. So Denzel,
Sir.
you just graduated 2021. So you have some of these fresh stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel like helped you become successful during your time here at Voorhees?
For me, if I could sum it up, it would just be networking. Just building relationships with faculty, staff, and students. And we touched on this a little bit yesterday, Mr. Du. It's not about what people say when you're in the room, it's what they say about you when you're not there. So just, always being someone that is communicative with people, reaching out, building those individual relationships, and it got me very far.
That's a great answer, man. I'm loving these answers already. Last but not least, Mr. Garlington, what helped you to become successful during your time here at Voorhees College?
Well, first of all, I think this panel has gotten it all together. So I've enjoyed listening to what helped them become successful. And I think in a nutshell, we've all experienced a piece of that, those nuances of what helped them become successful. We can all intake in bits and pieces of that. I think one of the things that helped me become successful was the people that I interacted with, for sure. And I'm not talking just the students, but the faculty and staff. And I know Linda's on here. I'm not sure if Willie's there, but the Jeffersons were sure really an intricate part of that. So just hearing what values that they brought to the scope of things, the perspectives of things, those are the things that you put in your mindset. Those things tend to carry you forward and whatnot. So the moment I left Voorhees, those are some of the things that I was looking at. This is what I want to be. This is what I want to do. And this is how I want to give back.
Yeah. That's a great answer. So I know a lot of times students say things about making them successful here, and sometimes their success here may not translate to the professional world, and they may have to kind of deter and go into a different direction. But do you guys can you identify some things that has given you impact in your professional career, whether you started off in the career and then you kind of had to change and go into another direction? But can you think about some specific things that help you in your profession right now that Voorhees gave you? And anybody is open.
I just want to say shout out to Christina Donovan in the
Shout
chat.
out to Christina, she's on the call.
For me, I haven't necessarily started my professional career, but I will say like the things I've done with career pathways and just a lot of the opportunities that I've gained at Voorhees has easily translated into grad school. A lot of things I did there, I'm doing now, I've already done. So it's basically giving me a leg up. So I think just, if you take advantage of what's in front of you, the good thing about Voorhees is there are a lot of opportunities to stay at a very small school and just trying things like applying to go to Liberia like I did, or trying to go to Washington, D.C. as a White House scholar. Those things I didn't think of before I got to Voorhees, but just taking advantage of that and leveraging those opportunities have benefited me in many ways.
Yeah. So let's go, and that's a great answer, Denzel. Let's go to Dr. Johnson, because I just saw you being shouted out in the comments, Southern Pearl Dentistry. And so you have your own business, right? So you're the owner of it. And so can you think of some specific things that literally when you begin to craft out your business, you were like, oh man, if it was not for this specific attribute, I don't know if I would have been able to start this business?
Yes. Going through the biology program at Voorhees was something. And I'm gonna say something because it was not a cakewalk at all.
Mm-hmm.
So my study group, I tell you, what was it? Biochem. I'm gonna just say
okay.
biochem. Okay. So to get where I am success wise, that was one of those things that one course alone out of all of the ones that I took was the
that one course.
That one was the deal breaker. And I say the deal breaker to let me know if science was what I really wanted to pursue. And it wasn't necessarily the curriculum, it was the combination of the curriculum and how it was being delivered.
Wow.
I learned it. So let's be real clear. I know biochemistry. If I don't know anything else, I know biochemistry. But the stress and the strain that one course put me through my junior year was enough to let me understand that I knew I could be somebody and run a whole business alone, which is what I do right now. That one course, because it was a lot of tears, a lot of screams, a lot of late nights with basketball on my schedule, with other things on my schedule. I was booked and busy, but I didn't miss biochem. I can tell you that much. So that was the one. I think that was my struggle and strife to get here. That course was amazing, but it kind of laid the foundation to know that I will not accept defeat. So that was just one of it wasn't gonna take me down. She wasn't gonna take me down. So that's the answer. Biochem.
Yes, ma'am. I got you. Biochemistry. So look, we got some entrepreneurs and some biology majors on the call. Dr. Johnson just basically told you not to give up. So if you thought about giving up, don't give up. Dr. Johnson just told you why. All right. Absolutely. So there we go. Miss Jordan.
Yes, sir.
When you think about where you are in your field, what are some specific things you like? If it had not been for this, I would not have made it.
Oh my goodness. If it had not been for having to design my own research experiment and keeping a rat alive, and I despise rats, just putting it out there. So having to clean that cage and feed it and make sure that my rat made it to the end so I could dissect this rat has really helped me like in my career. If I have something going on in the lab with the sample and it's not going correctly, I have to go back to the drawing board and figure out, okay, where did I possibly mess up? What's going on with the sample? And then going forward. Same thing with, design my own experiment. I had to figure out, okay, why is my rat not gaining weight? What is going on with it? So being in that lab and design that experiment from beginning to end has definitely put me in the position that I am right now.
These are some great stories, man. These are some pretty good stories. We need to make sure this is on the playback. This is good, man. Mr. Garlington, I'm pretty sure you got some good stories for us, man. In your field, what you're doing, I'm sure that you can say, if it was not for this specific thing, I would not be where I am.
Well, absolutely. If it wasn't for the fact that I was encouraged, and I say encouraged by myself, to leave a previous job that I absolutely hated, then I wouldn't be where I am now. So, and I'm not going to say what that previous job was because I don't want to take away from anything that anybody might be pursuing in life. Yes, but that was just my calling. That's not what I wanted to do. And sometimes you have to take those things with a grain of salt. And if you don't like doing something, move on to the next thing. Don't let it get you down. And I did not like doing this previous job. And next thing I know, I found myself in the federal government doing something that I absolutely love.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So it's always good to pivot, right?
Absolutely. Take those steps. Yeah. Take that next step. If you don't like something, there's always something else out there, but you got to be willing to jump into it.
Yeah. I love it. Now, when we talk about taking that next step, jumping into things, pivoting, let's talk about motivation, right? Because all of us have experienced difficult times. I think we talked about it earlier, and just literally COVID-19 has become something that a lot of us have never seen. Well, everyone has never seen. Let's say it like that. But let's go back to your years when you were in school. What gave you motivation to continue when times were difficult, right? Like Dr. Johnson said it earlier, you were a basketball player. You were a bio major. You were, in your words, you were booked and busy, right? So what gave you all motivation to continue when times were difficult? And Mr. Garlington, I'm sorry. Let's start with you first with this one. What gave you motivation in those difficult
Well,
times?
yeah, okay. Well, that's pretty easy because I think for most of my career, especially at Voorhees, and then probably the first couple of years after Voorhees, I was strictly into track and field. I consider
Oh,
myself a track star. I consider
yes,
myself a
sir.
track star, and I did pretty well, I must say. But there was there were a lot of other people out there in the land of track and field and sports and athletics doing a lot better than I was. And then I caught on to the fact that I may not get to where I want to be. So it's time to take a couple of steps back and research this thing again and find out where I want to be. My thing is, don't let those things get you down. You're going to have, because to be honest, I thought I was going to be a professional track and field runner. You know, that was my calling. It didn't work out that way. I took a different stance. I took another glance at what life had to offer, and I found something that I absolutely love doing, working with the federal government in federal law enforcement. So we have to give life a chance itself. Don't just because you've got one chair moved out from under you. There's a whole lot of other chairs that you can be sitting in and doing well in. So don't take it for granted that just because one thing is gone, everything is gone. That's not life. This game of life is very vast, very different than what we even knew 10 years ago. I'm not going to say 100 years ago because we know things have changed, but just even 10 to 15 years ago, things have changed significantly. And you got to be willing to take those steps and moving forward.
So I love your quote talking about one chair being removed from under us, but there are so many different chairs.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a great quote, and it gives us this transition to go right to Dr. Johnson. I want to ask you a question about your motivation, because you not only are a doctor, but you have your own, right? Some people may go in and work for people, but talking about chairs being removed from behind you, you created your own chair. So what gave you motivation when it came to those difficult times? I know you said something about it earlier with biochemistry, but if you can think of any more, and even now, what gives you motivation with the profession that you're in?
What gave me motivation, honestly, to even open my own practice was I got tired of watching people that look like me be disrespected health-wise. I worked for a few different corporate chains, and they just weren't receiving the same quality of healthcare that I would honestly provide, or that I was receiving. There are different levels and different channels that people are in their lives. Everybody's not on the same tax bracket. That's obvious. So different means of healthcare. So it doesn't, for me, truthfully, people who can't necessarily, or who are on state funding, shouldn't receive a lack of care versus somebody who has a PPO insurance. And so that was the dynamic change for me. Everybody should be treated equally in my perspective. Now, does the world work that way? Not all the time, but under my roof of my business, that's how it works. We treat everybody the same. So I decided to branch out, create my own, and here we are. So that was the motivation for me. I just wasn't gonna continue to work for somebody who didn't care for people of the same complexion as me, and that's just honest. Yeah. And I see Smoot shouting out my business. Hey, Smoot, thank you. But that's the truth, honestly. And plus, my husband and my family were, of course, there the whole step of the way. I'm sure he was probably tired of me. I told him I was getting ready to quit my job, and that was just what it was going to be, and he just rolled with it. So, and from there, I would hit the ground running, and Southern Pro Dentistry is open for business.
I love it.
Come on now. And it sounds like pivoting could be a skill too, right? Because on the other side of your pivot can be this amazing creation, but sometimes fear has its way of, like Mr. Johnson said, Mr. Garlington saying that there may, in your mind, only be one chair, but if you see that there's more chairs around, then this opportunity is literally opening a door for the next one.
Exactly. So
I love this pivot skill that we're talking about right now. Miss Jordan, when you think about motivation in difficult times, what can you say, this was my motivation to carry me over?
My motivation to carry me over was to just keep moving forward. There are not a lot of radiochemistry lab techs. There are not a lot of Black radiochemistry lab techs. So to be able to go into that field and to be able to do samples and to also just encourage other people who have a biology degree that you may not want to be a doctor, but you can become a medical lab tech. You can do lab work. You can do what I do. There are different ways to go about, doing your success or what is successful to you. So you just have to continue to keep pushing forward and do whatever works for you in that moment. I've been in the industry over 14 years and I'm looking at doing something else. So you don't have to pigeonhole yourself. Just figure out what works for you and then continue to move forward from that point.
Cameron McLean just said it in the comments. He said there's power in the pivot. So it sounds like Ms. Jordan is about to pivot too.
Absolutely. I got a game plan, y'all. I got a game
plan. There we go. He said there's power in the pivot. Mr. Denzel Walls, when you think about motivation, and I'm pretty sure the motivation that you had to almost be abnormal in a way, right? You go from graduating in 2021 in undergrad to literally starting grad school this same year in a pandemic, right? So where does your motivation come from in difficult times, in fearful times, in trying times? Where does that motivation come from?
Oh, I was trying to figure out my answer while everyone was talking, but it's hard to really put it into one word. I would say it has a lot. For me, it's a number of things. One is my family. My family worked very hard to allow me to even be having these opportunities. So whatever I'm gonna do, I'm gonna represent them the best I can. And then I just think about myself in a way that I'm stubborn. Like I refuse to let a pandemic stop me from going where I want to go or any setback. So running for Mr. Voorhees in a pandemic, that's not fun. You don't get the perks everyone else got, but I'm not gonna let that stop me from accomplishing the goal because that's what I want to do. And even now, when you speak to the family thing, not just those who raised me, I think about my Voorhees family. I'm going to this University of South Carolina. I feel like I'm representing Voorhees College every day, and so I strive to be my best. So when the next person from Voorhees comes, they know, okay, I set that way for them, and those are the things that just motivate me, man. I have big goals, and I'm not gonna let anything just get in the way of that.
Yeah. So Denzel, you talked about running for Mr. Voorhees during the pandemic, right? And I know you were a part of other things too. Were you all a part of any organizations on campus while you were here that kind of helped to cultivate you as well? Any organizations, any clubs, something that you kind of identify with? Because I know Mr. Voorhees is here, but anybody else? What, maybe a Miss Voorhees or another Mr. Voorhees or some organization that you might can shout out? Anybody can go.
Yeah, I'll go first. I was a part of Student Government Association my junior year and my senior year, and I was actually the first vice president of Student Government Association when we had an all first female cabinet. I also participated in student support services as well and many other club campuses.
Wow. Okay. Shout out to you. Anyone else?
Well, yeah, I had a pretty good run at Voorhees. I was part of the pre-alumni council, the Phi Beta Lambda business fraternity, and the first of them all, the mighty A Phi A. So for the frats out there, we're in the house.
Mr. McLean, he's in the comments. He's in the house.
I saw that. I was Miss Voorhees 0809. I played basketball. I am an Alpha Kappa Alpha woman. So
okay.
What else did I do? I was a part of SGA, a few other organizations. We had a Sisters in Science program while I was there over the summer. We actually taught some students. And a few other honor societies. So I kept busy. I was busy, and I ran cross country. So I was busy.
You were really busy. So you guys sound like you were, in most cases, at the heartbeat of the institution, being a part of those organizations, being a part of. You got Mr. Voorhees, a former Mr. Voorhees, Miss Voorhees.
Let me say what else I did.
I'm sorry. Forgive me.
You missed props.
Right.
Forgive me. I just thought about Mr. Voorhees. Go ahead. What else did you do?
Besides, working with the wonderful CPI department has groomed me in many ways in my professional career. I would say the business department isn't necessarily a club, but shout out to Dr. Whitaker. I mean, wow, that really, they really groomed me. Also being a part of SGA, was a junior class president. Currently, I'm an assistant women's basketball coach, so I wasn't necessarily on the team, but working with Coach Glover and all that, been a part of that, and yeah, I did quite a few things too.
My apologies. My apologies. You did. Forgive me. Forgive me. So, like I was saying, you guys were at the heartbeat of the institution. You got involved, you were engaged, and you literally took like the leadership role in as someone else passed the baton. Let me say it like that. As someone else passed the baton, you were in place to get it. So, what are some things right now that you and your class do to encourage the school pride of Voorhees? Because I know right now you guys may talk to your friends or your colleagues, and the VC pride is still there. It's never died. Let me say it like that. So how do you guys keep that VC pride going? Anybody
we talk about Voorhees wherever we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
We talk to students, talk to incoming freshmen, anybody that we think may be interested in going to college. I talk about
maybe having a little bit of connection issues, Miss Jordan, if you can hear me.
Where I go, when I'm out in the street. Okay, so like I was saying, I wear my paraphernalia. I wear my Voorhees College shirts and hoodies. When I see students, I talk to them. The chapter that I'm in Charleston, we actually go out and we do high school college fairs to encourage students to go to Voorhees College. So we just go out and we just talk the school up and just continue to encourage people to apply and see what Voorhees has for you, because it has something for everybody.
So are you saying that the VC pride never died?
Absolutely not. We Tigers to the day we die.
I just wanted to ask. I just wanted to make sure.
Oh no, absolutely.
Mr. Garlington, and thank you for the answer too, Miss Jordan. Mr. Garlington, what are some things that your class does to encourage the school pride of Voorhees College?
Well, first of all, there's quite a number of things. You got to position yourself, first of all, to be a part of something. I took those. I didn't take those things lightly. I tried to become as a part of every single thing there. Culminating in obviously in my experience in the brotherhood of first of all, service of all, we shall transcend all. A-Phi A. Hey, all right, Alpha Phi Alpha. But there's a lot of things that you can do to get yourself involved in that you can feel as if you belong. So it's just didn't stop at Alpha Phi Alpha. There was the National Pre-Alumni Council. There was the Panhellenic Council. There's even as a freshman, I'm not sure if these organizations still are around. The social fellowship clubs, the I-Phi I, I-Phi-S social fellowship clubs and things, they may not be around, but there was a ton of the pre-alumni councils, National Pre-Alumni Council, Panhellenic councils. There are so many things that you can do to get yourself involved, to feel inclusive. No one should be able to, whether it's Voorhees or any other college campus, should go to a school feeling as if they're the ones that's left out. You leave yourselves out. Because these school campuses and in Voorhees, and I know for a fact, and we all know, Voorhees has a lot of inclusivities. And if you're feeling inclusive, then that's a problem that you might have to talk with yourself about, because there's a lot of things there. And I had no problems with that. I was a part of I-Phi, which is probably no longer on the campus. I don't know if it's still there or not, but these are old social clubs and things. The Panhellenic Council, the national. There's just so many. There was just so many. Culminating the Alpha Phi Alpha, which and Phi Beta Lambda business fraternity. So these are things that I took great pride in and you stay involved in these things. I am still involved in these things today.
So is it safe to say, Mr. Garlington, that the VC pride in you has never died?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's very safe to say, and it won't die.
And it won't die.
And when I'm gone, others that know me will know that pride that was in me for VC, and they will live that pride out.
There we go. There we go. The VC pride has never died. Dr. Johnson, let's come to you. What are some things, and you are the president for the alumni in Atlanta Metro, right?
Uh-huh.
So I don't even know if I need to ask you, is it safe to say that the VC pride never died? Because I'm pretty sure yours is like thriving well. But what are some things that you and your class do to still encourage that VC pride?
Well, with the chapter, honestly, I've kind of incorporated. It doesn't matter if you live in Atlanta or not. So what we do is we still link up, we still chat, and the biggest thing that we do is we create events so we can hang out. We create events so we can make money for the school, make those donations that the school needs. As alumni, that's one of those things that we are required to do. I think that's one of the things that we really don't know. But to keep our school up and alive and well, that's what we should do as alumni. We should donate. Yeah, I'm not saying give them your whole check, but give them something. Okay. So the biggest thing for us is we stay in networking contact all the time. I was telling you guys earlier on the house party app during the pandemic, that was one of those things that we did not let dwindle away. We stayed in communications to make sure everybody was all right. So the pride would never die. We advertise on our Instagram for the bookstore. I think as alumni, some of us buy more paraphernalia than the students, as we should. Right. So it's just one of those things that we won't allow it to go to waste. Like the pride will never die.
Yeah.
Never.
And so just real quick, we talked earlier. Sorry, go ahead.
I said that needs to be on the shirt. The pride will never die.
There we go. Hashtag VC pride will never die. Somebody can put it in the comments. Hashtag that we need to put it on the shirt. Somebody's gonna get that made as soon as possible, right? The VC pride never die. Denzel Walls. You just graduated, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure that you connected with your class and you guys have allowed that VC pride to really live on and stay strong. What are some ways that you guys are encouraging that VC pride to stay alive?
Well, yeah, I would say right now, since we just graduated, it hasn't been necessarily programming we've done yet, but I can speak on a number of people I know personally still impacting students, networking with them, encouraging them, being mentors, and just and reaching out. I'll say for me personally, I mean, at least 2 or 3 times a week, I'm either wearing a Voorhees shirt or a Voorhees mask to school every day. Today I wore a Voorhees hoodie. And then what I did yesterday, you were there, we hosted a program connecting USC to Voorhees College and was able to talk to the students about the Masters of Human Resources program. So that's just the start of it. Doing as much as I can. The pride is very much alive in me.
There we go.
Every day, I'm proud. I think we had a workshop a couple of weeks ago, and they asked us, what's something that you're a part of that you're very proud of. And I say every day, I'm proud to say that I'm a Voorhees graduate. And so
there you go.
The Tiger Pride is very much alive.
There you go.
There you go. So like Denzel said, he was here yesterday doing a presentation in the business department talking with students. And so he's here on campus, but I'm pretty sure that everybody would love to be on campus if we could, right? So it's safe to say that everybody on this call can agree to this statement that the VC pride has never died. It's still alive and well.
That's right.
And the pride that we have, like Mr. Garlington said, it will transcend to the next generation, and they will know that the pride was alive as well.
Absolutely.
So let's go to this next question. We're almost finished, but I think it's really great to talk about. Mr. Garlington said something about being inclusive, right? And when we think about being inclusive, immediately in my mind, I think about faculty and staff. Miss Jordan, you said something about Miss Linda Jefferson earlier, and literally as soon as you said it, she popped up on the screen. When we talk about being inclusive, right? And immediately we have to think about those faculty and staff that are really not just faculty and staff. They become family too. They become like our mom away from home, our auntie away from home, our father figure or mentor away from home. So who are some faculty and staff members that were instrumental in your success when you were here at Voorhees College? And maybe they've not just been instrumental while you were at Voorhees, but they've been instrumental in your career. If you can give some names of some people, can you tell us, Mr. Garlington? We'll start with you first.
Yeah, absolutely. There were several. I mean, I can't just limit myself to saying one or two people there. But at the time I was going there, Dr. Leonard Dawson was the president of Voorhees. He was absolutely instrumental in my upbringing as a student at Voorhees. There's several others, just not Dr. Dawson, but I know that everybody's got to have a chance at this. So I'll just go to those main factors and stuff. And the bottom line, probably the most important to me was probably Willie Jefferson. Not just Willie himself, but his family, Linda included. They were more so role models.
Yes,
those role models, people that I wanted to pattern myself after. I grew up in a large family with 4 brothers and 2 sisters, but we were all raised by my grandmother. I didn't really have a mother and father around, so there was not really a man figure to speak of. I got to Voorhees, and I was looking at this Alpha Phi Alpha club or so, whatever it was at the time. I had no idea. And come on, we all thought at the same time. We see these Greek letters, folks walking around. What is that? What is that club or something? I didn't think of it as an organization, as a fraternity or whatnot. And of course, over a period of time, got to talk with Mr. Jefferson as I'm coming up from my freshman, my sophomore, and then junior year. Hey, what is this Alpha Phi Alpha thing? What can it do for me and whatnot? But those are the things that we look at. Those are the people we look at, and we want to pattern our lives after and whatnot. So that was one of the main instruments to me becoming to where I am now.
Yeah, I think that's great. Like I was saying, most times we begin to get connected with people, and they start off as mentors or they start off as faculty and staff, but eventually they become family, right?
Right. Exactly.
That's what happens in the HBCU experience. People become your family, and we're connected forever. I call them throughout the day, or you call them throughout the day, and so they become family.
Right.
So we enjoyed that response. Go ahead, Mr. Garlington. You about to say something else?
Yeah, well, no, I was going to say, over a period of time, you don't communicate with certain individuals as much as possible, especially as we leave the Voorhees family and whatnot, out on lives and not doing our own things and whatnot. But you know that these people are still there. You know that they are a part of your integral background and whatnot, and in your mind and whatnot. So you call on them from time to time. I mean, it's not just the Voorhees life itself, but it's life in general. When there's things that come at you, when there's things that you need, information, whatnot, you have these people to reach out to. So, don't just limit to the 4 years you have at Voorhees or so, but this is your background. This is how you start dwelling and how you start developing those instruments and those instrumental people in your lives.
I'm convinced. I thought this earlier, but I think they need to bring you back to speak at some point in time, Mr. Garlington. I was going to say it earlier, but I just refrained from saying it. But I'm saying it now because you just keep going, and I'm like, yeah, they definitely need to bring you back at some point in time to speak.
Anytime.
So, yes, sir. Miss Jordan, when you think about faculty and staff, you said it earlier. I know you said Miss Linda Jefferson, but is there anyone else that you can think about that were truly instrumental in your success, not only at Voorhees, but in your professional career, or maybe even in your life, like Mr. Garlington said, they've really been instrumental to your success?
Okay. So besides Mrs. Jefferson, I would say the Godwins, Dr. Smith, like I said earlier. The one thing I can say about Miss Linda Jefferson is that she always told us that your word is your bond. And that has stuck with me all these years later, that when I tell someone that I'm going to do something for them, I'm going to do something, period, that when I say it, That's it. That's law. It means nothing else. So my word is my bond, and that has always stuck with me. Like I said, so many years later, even when I go back on campus now, and I make sure I see Miss Jefferson, she gives me that good old hug. I feel like I'm a student again, and we sit there and we talk and we laugh. And she will always end with, "Tiffany, your word is your bond," and that has always stuck with me. So just being in her presence professionally, if I tell my supervisor I'm going to do something, I'm going to get these samples out, my word is my bond, and I'm going to do that.
Now, that's a powerful connection with a person, right? If you can hug them and you are an adult, but you can literally feel like a child again. That was a powerful connection.
That's how I feel when I come on campus. I look at, my old professors that are still there, and I'm just like, it puts me back to when I first started and just matriculating through the years and graduating. And like I said, when I go back, I feel, like, ooh, I'm a student again, even though I'm a
Yeah.
full grown woman.
Yeah.
It just
But
has
you know what?
that experience.
You know what? That shows your love, and that shows your experience with what you had at the college. It shows that you were somebody that came here and you were all in. You said,
Oh,
I'm going to be all into Voorhees. And so when I come back, it's like those feelings begin to
they're
bubble
still
back up
there.
because I did
They're
so
still
much
there.
here.
Yep.
And you can probably even say it like this, that a part of me still is here.
Oh,
Right?
it is.
Or a
I
part
get
of here
excited
comes with me.
coming on campus, or like for homecoming, like even though we're not having in-person homecoming, it's homecoming week, and that excitement is still there.
Still there.
Yep.
Still there. I love it. Denzel, when you think about faculty and staff members that have been instrumental, you just graduated, but I'm pretty sure you have some people that you can think about kind of have helped you through that transition between graduating and then going to grad school. But who are some people that have been truly instrumental while you were here at Voorhees, since you've been in grad school, and just in life in general?
Yeah, man. I mentioned it earlier. My experience at Voorhees was really based off a lot of relationships and networking. And so, I mean, I'll start with the business department, Dr. Whitaker, Dr. Davis, and Professor Ross. Like, they were integral. Even I think you yourself and CPI, like
I made it.
Yeah. The way you guys helped groom me professionally. Then I think, Dr. Hopkins, Mr. Wright, Miss Counts, and everyone over with the Honors College. Even now, who I see the most, Coach Glover. There's been so many wonderful people that help me mature and help me grow in my career. And I don't like naming names because you're gonna leave someone out, but like if you're listening, I appreciate everything you do for me and have done, and I wouldn't be where I am without it. So,
if you're listening, if you're watching this, do me a quick favor. I know we're about to close soon, but share if you have already shared it, share it one more time, because this is some information that I think and I know that we'll be able to glean from at some point in time. Dr. Johnson, we're coming to you. Some people that have been instrumental in your life while you were here at Voorhees, in your professional career, and in your life, as I said before, but staff and faculty members. Can you think of some people off the top of your head right now? And maybe you can't name them all, but just a couple.
Smoot and Damian have listed so many that each time they post somebody, I'm like, yeah.
There we go.
Every time, yeah.
There we go.
I know I mentioned that I'm from Atlanta, so and I was always urging to get home. So my mom on campus was Miss Loretta Taylor. She worked in the accounting. So she worked under Miss O'Berry. And so she was actually our work study, me and Keisha's work study. And it was almost like she would correct us before we did something stupid. So before we
There we go.
completely stupid, she
There
would
we
say,
go.
no, you're not supposed to do that.
Right.
And so she kind of took the role of our mom, even though I'm sure our moms had already worked that out with her too.
Right.
The mom away from mom. And so it worked well because she was our work study. And then when I became Miss Voorhees, Dr. Sellers was actually I worked under him for work studies. He was the president at the time. So he was the one who actually gave me the push to actually go into dental school, which is what I wanted to do anyway. I was gonna go, but my route would have taken a little bit longer because I was going to take some time off, do some other things.
I
And
got
so
you.
he did a few calls to some of his frat brothers, some Omegas in Wisconsin, and then I ended up at Marquette for dental school the following year. So it was almost like this is what you're gonna do right now. So he took on the father figure as well. And I can't leave Coach Glove out or Sugar. Excuse me, Dr. Hemby. I can't leave. I cannot leave either one of them out because they corrected my attitude more frequently than I would have liked. But it was for the growth of myself, and I appreciate that. So
Yeah.
Those are a few people that I would definitely not leave off the list. Okay.
There we go. And we see in the comments, shout out to the RTC program for sure. And quick insert, if you guys in the comments that are watching, if you have any questions, please have them in the comments. I know we're getting to the end of our conversation today, but if you have any questions, please share them. And as we are going through these last bit of questions, we'll ask those as well. But we want to pivot and go to alumni, right? You guys are all alumni, and you can remember when you were a student how beneficial it was to come in contact with an alumni, right? How exciting it was to hear those stories from an alumnus of Voorhees. But how important do you think it is for alumni to support the students? And how important do you feel like it is to their success that support from the alumni? And Miss Jordan, let's start with you first. I apologize if you didn't see that coming.
I did not. But alumni make the school. So we absolutely have to give back to the students. We have to be involved with what's going on with the students, and not just the students, but what's going on with the school as well. So it's important that we get involved, that we reach back, that we have that ability to come on campus and to visit, to talk to the students, to, meet with the president if at all possible, to find out what's going on and then figure out how we as alumni can do better as far as giving back to the school.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm going to make a quick pivot with this question because I see some other questions coming up. And Dr. Johnson, I want you to answer this question if you can, because you said a great answer earlier. And Mr. Sumner, if you can bring back up Cam's question, that'd be great. So he asked, how did your VC education prepare you for post-grad studies? And so your story about how the biochem class, if you can just share that really quickly, I think that'll be great for that question.
It was actually my Voorhees College education was instrumental into actually pushing me towards moving forward into dentistry. Voorhees doesn't necessarily have a dental-based program, but the biology curriculum is sufficient to put anybody who's interested in dentistry on the right path. Everything that I learned while there under the biology program, as far as what I needed to graduate, was a part of the DAT, which is the the dental aptitude test to get in dental school. So
Gotcha.
It was sufficient. Everything that I needed to know to become a dentist, I got the baseline so I could get into professional school to become a dentist, which is what I am right now. So the education was perfect. I wouldn't change anything. If we needed to change anything or add anything, it would be to offer a little bit more. I think Voorhees graduates more nurses, students who graduate from Voorhees that are under the biology major become nurses. So maybe opening a nursing program may assist with that, and then they can come directly from Voorhees versus going to, I think, your alma mater, South Carolina State.
Wait. I didn't bring it up. You did that. I didn't do it.
But that's our transition, to be honest with you. And that's the reason. So I mean, you asked. I'm just being honest. So,
I got you.
It's one of those things. But my education was great. No, nothing. It was awesome.
Shout out to South Carolina State since you brought it up. You brought it up. I did.
Facts.
You brought it up. All right. So, Mr. Garlington, really quickly, how important do you think alumni support is to student success?
Alumni support has everything to do with student success. Students see alumni, bottom line.
Yeah.
And whether it's how you carry yourselves, whether it's how you talk, whether it's how you dress or what you're driving, students are going to see that. Not just students, but everybody in every walk of life. They're going to see it. They're going to prejudge it, whether it's positive or whether it's negative. But you can best believe they're going to see it. And whether they want to be part of it or not, that's up to the student. How you got to where you got to, that's up to the student to decide if they want to be in their shoes. The only thing you can do is lead by example.
Yeah.
Don't let that Harley Davidson bike that you're driving, that Mercedes Benz that you're driving, don't let it become you. Become better, become bigger. Show the student the positives of why you're driving those things or why you do what you do. You know, you don't want to let those things because eventually those things will erode at that student's life and stuff. You don't want that to happen. You want to be a part of that student and themselves. If they want to get that once they graduate and find the job that befits them, they want to get that Mercedes. If they want to have that job in a penthouse somewhere, that's on them. But you got to be positive in what you do and how you do it. Okay.
Yeah.
So those were some of the things that were impressed upon me. I'm not going to say I've got all of those things, but whatever I have, I'm going to let it shine the brightest and let somebody take a chance and see what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. And if they want to live their lives that way, then that's on them.
Man, that's a great answer. I'm telling you, they need to get you to come back and speak, man. It sounds like you wrote a book at some point in time in life. You're not working on it right now, I'm pretty sure. Dr. Johnson, let's go to you because you are the alumni president for the Atlanta Metro chapter. I know I keep bringing it up, sorry. But how important do you think it is for alumni to support students? And how important do you think it is to the student success?
I have no words to tell you how important it is because it's more than just important. It's one of those things that a lot of people don't really understand because it probably wasn't properly broken down to them so that they can understand the whole circle of life when it comes after graduation. So being in the position that I am in right now as the president, my goal is to reach back to as many alumni as I can get my hands on. And to create a baseline so that we understand that, you know, alumni giving has to be more than 3%. It's supposed to be around 90. Okay. So if we're not giving anything, our students won't have the opportunity to understand what they're supposed to do in the future. So the biggest thing for me is kind of creating a baseline for alumni in Atlanta, which is kind of what we've done. I know Smoot asked in the comments, what have we done for the class of 09 to reach to alumni? And we go live. We do things on the forefront. We create transparency. We let everybody know what's going on because there are no secrets with what's going on with our college. This is a public institution. We got to give for us to stay open, and that's just what it is. So the support is necessary. Do you have different organizations? Like you have your local chapters. People don't know about them because they're not involved in them. So if you have an alumni that's a friend, get them in your chapter. Tell them about the chapters. If they don't have a chapter in their areas, it doesn't mean you can't join one where you don't live. Like I said, in the Atlanta chapter, I think we have a good amount of people who don't even live in Atlanta who are part of our chapter because we're active.
Yeah,
and that's honest.
So quick thing, Dr. Johnson, before you finish, Mr. Sumner, if you can bring that last question up really quick, I want to try to cover a lot of bases as we're talking. So this last question says, how can we build better sustaining power for alums to stay connected and engaged? But I think you shared some of that during your response. But if you can just kind of reiterate, I think that's a great answer for this question right here.
To reach back, making sure that there's complete transparency. Tell a friend if your roommate isn't on the call and they don't know about a meeting, get them on the call. Make sure they have a clear understanding of what we need as a campus. It only makes sense if we keep not necessarily saying things that aren't positive or aren't putting the real trajectories out there. There's always going to be misconception and confusion when that's not what we need. We need transparency. We need it to be open, clear, and honest so that we can move forward and actually build our college, soon to be university.
There we go. Denzel, let's come to you really quickly before we close, because I know we are coming up on 12 o'clock. And if you guys are open to kind of extending that time just a little bit, we don't want to take too much, but just a little bit, because there's one more question after this question. But Denzel, how important do you think it is? I know you're freshly graduated, but how important do you feel like the alumni support is when it comes to student success?
I mean, I think it's invaluable. I think everyone spoke on it very well. Like I can speak for myself. Just talking to alumni and the impact they had on my experience, and uh, like it was mentioned, just seeing what they do and how they do it. And yeah, you're driving that car. I want to have that car too. And you don't really think about that, but that really motivates you because I think in our community there's a lot of things that we don't think we can do because we don't see it.
Right.
Yeah.
So being able to see that with alumni, people coming from where you came from, and showing, and that's why doing what I did yesterday, just seeing the interest that was sparking in the students' eyes. We never even thought about a career in human resources,
Right.
and see how much money is there.
Yeah.
And I want to say, I believe in like 2018, I spoke at the Metro Atlanta alumni chapter gala. Yeah,
I interviewed you. So when
yeah.
you
So
started talking, I was like, I know him.
yeah,
There we
we
go.
need to talk because I need to join because I'm from Savannah. But yeah.
Join my
So no,
chapter. You're welcome.
okay. Cool. But yeah,
Shameless
the
plug
alumni
there.
is invaluable. So yeah.
No, I love it, man. And these are all great stories. And I'm pretty sure that as Mr. Garlington said, that leading by example, you seeing how a person carries himself, their car, the student is watching all those things. And that's a phenomenal way to put it, wherein we can just lead by example, and whatever those small things are, like you said, you may can't tell them the whole story. You can't lead them the entire way, but the small light that you have in whatever area it is in your life, you can share that with them, and it really will be able to help them get to that next place. And so we get to our last question, right? And you guys have shared so much, and we've shared things about students, how they can learn from you all, glean from people, network, and all these different things. But this last question is specifically talking to students and how you can give, what advice would you give them, that current student, that current freshman, right? That current sophomore, that current junior, or that current senior that's about to graduate and they're like in their last semester or right before their last semester. What advice would you give them right now so that they can obtain the success that you obtain here at Voorhees, and also after they graduate, the success that you've obtained in your career? What advice did you have towards a freshman, a sophomore, a junior, and a senior right now? And maybe y'all might have to go back and remember when you were a freshman, remember when you were a sophomore, kind of go back for a second, kind of see where they are mentally. But Mr. Garland, wait, let's go to you last because you might drop a book on this. I want to go to you last. I don't want to go to you first. But so Denzel, your peers, they're freshman, sophomore, junior, senior right now. What advice do you have for them?
Man, I would say just try it. Just take advantage of the opportunities in front of you. I think back all my years, there's so many things that I wish I would have just had the nerve to just try. And that's something I developed along my way. And just, you have one life, so take advantage of those opportunities that's in front of you. Because if not, without the advice that I got from some of the people that I mentioned earlier, I would have never went to Liberia, or even now this spring I'm going to Singapore with USC. Like, and that's just from just the having the courage to attempt and to try. So my big advice would be, man, just when you see an opportunity in front of you, take it. Why not? You can do it. So yeah, just try.
Yeah, and to piggyback, we just saw a comment at the bottom said, if you can bring it up real quick, Mr. Sumner, says the best advice is stay the course and learn and network all you can.
Absolutely.
In conjunction with what you guys are about to share, I think that's great. And what you just said, Denzel, Miss Tiffany Jordan, when you think about freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, what advice do you have for these students to obtain the success that you had while you were a student and once you graduate?
My best success for a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior is just to keep going. Things are going to happen in life. Things are going to happen at school. Things are going to happen back home. But just keep going. Stay the course. Realize why you decided to go to Voorhees College or any institution, but specifically Voorhees. Remember why you decided to go, and then just stay the course. As you go through the years, internships are so important. Networking is so important because that stuff can carry you forward. You can get a great internship and it can put you into grad school. It could even propel you into your first job. So just network, keep pushing, keep going. Even when things look bleak, just keep pushing and keep going.
Yeah. No, I love that. we keep hearing that stay the course, don't give up. When things look bleak, like you said, press through it. Love
Yep.
those responses because those freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors, they may not see the light at the end of the tunnel just yet, but this may be the thing that carries them over. Dr. Johnson, Atlanta Metro Chapter President, what advice do you have for the students that are current students, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, to obtain the success that you obtained while you were a student and once you graduated?
The quote I live by is that if success is attainable, then failure is not an option. So with that,
wait, you gotta let that breathe for a little bit. You can't just move like that. You gotta let that breathe for just a little bit and then you move. But go ahead.
But seriously, that's really the quote that I live by. So if I know I mentioned earlier that I just would not accept defeat. That's one of those things. I'm slightly competitive. I don't like to lose. So I'm not gonna let anything break me. And so that's the advice that I would give anybody. Don't let anything shatter your dreams. There's always an alternative. For me, it's always easier for me to create one plan, but always have a backup. Okay. Yeah. So making sure I align myself to get to what I want. So everybody mentioned networking and creating a perfect pathway, but that's honestly the truth, which is how I got to where I am. I didn't allow anything to cut me off. And of course, when all things are going great, something's going to happen. That's just the regimen of life. But you always make sure you have a secondary or a backup plan to support your primary master plan.
Yeah. Speaking of a secondary or backup plan, someone said in the comments, I think her name was Miss Lamb. She said that somebody needs to start some investments. I can't remember the entire statement that she said, but Mr. Sumner, if you can bring that back up, I think that was great. She was saying that you need to invest maybe like $5 in January 22. You'll thank me later. There we go. So start an investment account for it as little as $5. Select a Roth IRA and invest in dividend stocks or ETFs. Now that's great advice. As you talk about, make sure you have a backup plan.
Yep, she should teach a class. We got the Voorhees College National Alumni Convention coming up in June. We'll recruit her for the workshop.
Miss Lamb, Miss Lamb, if you can hear me, you've just been recruited.
For a workshop.
Excuse me, Miss Lamb, knock. You've just been recruited. If you can hear me. All right, so let's end this conversation. Mr. Garlington, I'm pretty sure you have some phenomenal advice for us, but we talk about now the advice that you can give a current student to obtain the success that you've obtained here at Voorhees and during your career. Now we're talking about freshmen. We're talking about sophomores, juniors, and seniors. They're 18, 19, 20 years old, right? Sure. What advice do you have for them, Mr. Garlington?
Well, obviously, I shouldn't have to be able to tell a freshman, sophomore, junior to stay in school. We shouldn't have to. Hopefully, their parents will be able to tell them those things. The advice that I would want to tell everyone is to do your best, because whatever you do is going to be reflected upon you graduating from school. Take advantage of every opportunity that you have. Stay positive on the journey presented to you. Through everything you do, there's a lesson that's going to be learned. For example, I visited, by last count, about 113 countries, working for the United States government's Foreign Service, Department of State.
Whoa.
I've met presidents, vice presidents, diplomats, the bunch of them, along doing this with the secretaries of states since Secretary Condoleezza Rice. The thing you have to keep in mind, everything's not going to be as you would like it to be. Yeah. You got to understand that. You're not going to have 100% smooth sailing. Never. That's not the challenge. And if you're not challenged, then apparently you're not doing something, because it's only when you present it with those challenges, you make things better. Your attitude is going to make it a positive or negative. At last count, I've visited almost 120 countries. I've met presidents, secretaries of states, chiefs of staff, None of these I would have met by not taking a chance and jumping into this line of work, by being satisfied with my previous job as an accounts manager, which I can't even, I've only did that for a little bit of time. Not even sure why I got into it at that point in time. But you got to take chances, folks. Don't let the fact that you're at Voorhees College, you're gonna lock it into your mindset that you're not at USC, you're not at Clemson. Well, guess what? I get emails from the Clemson folks, from the USC folks, from the Harvards, from the Yales. Me, a Voorhees College student.
Mm-hmm.
I am getting these emails from these folks. How can I join the line of work you're doing? I'm having trouble. Well, folks, it's about what you're doing in school. It's about how you're presenting yourself. Never see yourself as average.
Yeah.
Never see yourself as average. Always see yourself as being better than average. If you can see yourself as better than average, that might be the determining factor of being average or being better than average.
Yeah.
Being that person that's going in to do the day-to-day work, or being that person that's monitoring what's being done by the day-to-day folk. Always be better than average is the number one thing I will ever tell any student. If you can do that, you're going to set yourself up for the best things in life. You're going to have a positive outlook on life. You're going to come out as a positive if that's what you want to do.
Yes, sir.
It's all about what you want to do and what you're willing to do to get there.
Yes, sir. If somebody could put it in the comments for the students later to be better than average, I think that's what we need to take away, is that we need to be better than average. First off, before we move, we need to shout out our VC veterans and all the veterans around the world. Today is your day, and we want to shout you out and thank you for your service. Next, I saw a comment. If Mr. Sumner can pull it up, we had a comment about what is your greatest, and they said it in all caps, homecoming. So I'm going to say it like that. What is your greatest homecoming memory as a student? Now, Dr. Johnson, I'm going to start with you because you did your eyes like you could think of something right now. So what is your greatest homecoming memory as a student, Dr. Johnson, please?
Yeah, I can't go last.
No. We actually want you to go first.
I think my greatest homecoming memory was when me and my friends could not figure out how to get back in our room. We couldn't figure out how to get back. We were in the building. We were in Battle Hall.
There you go.
We were in Battle Hall.
Talk about it. We here. Couldn't figure it out.
That's all I got. We won the game. We won because I played in the game that day. We won the game. The parade was awesome. This was not my senior year, my sophomore year. Can't tell you. If we had a fun time. We had a great time. That's all I got.
And couldn't figure out how to get back in your room.
Nobody had the key.
Nobody.
Right.
That's a memory.
That's all I got for you. That's it.
That's a memory. Let's go down to Mr. Garlington. Let's hear about your memory. What is your greatest, and I gotta say it like the comment said it, greatest homecoming memory as a student?
Oh man, there actually, it's hard for me to pick out one great moment. There's several. All of my moments I thought were great. All homecomings I thought were great. But if I had to lay down the information on one, it probably had to be my senior year step show.
Okay.
Of course, I am a member of the fabulous Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity.
Yes, sir.
There was challenges every year, and I think this particular year there were always challenges between us and Kappa Alpha Psi. I've got some really good friends that are Kappa Alpha Psi, namely one, I'm not sure if he's listening here, but his name was Vincent Lai. He was a past president of Voorhees and stuff, Student Alumni Council and stuff. We were roommates for a while and stuff, but we talked about these things all the time. Step shows were the greatest in history. These step shows were original. I'm not just talking smack about anything that folks are doing today, but you can't do but so much stuff, so long and stuff. You're gonna start coming up with some of the stuff that originals did. We don't want to call ourselves originals, but these step shows were absolutely amazing. So I think probably my best knowledge of homecomings and what was done then was the step shows that was being done, and just the atmosphere that these things generated. You can't beat them. And I'm not talking about the Morehouses, the South Carolina States, the larger HBCUs. I'm talking about the small HBCUs such as the Voorhees College. Those are family atmospheres. Those are the atmospheres that stick together.
There we go.
That brings you a little bit closer to a family reunion itself. It seems like.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There we go. So we got. I couldn't get back in my room, and then now we have homecoming step shows.
Hey, since you work at Voorhees, we should do like a alumni versus the student step show. See, that'd be fun. What you think?
Yeah.
You down, Mr.
Right, wait. Here we go. Since we're on this call, let's just put it out there, right? Because there are many people watching. They already have the idea. You know what I'm saying?
I still got it. We can do this.
Hey, we can do it. We can do it.
She said she still got it. Students, if you watch it, she said she still got it. And then Mr. Garlington said that he's one of the originals. So there might be a lot of. Oh, whoa.
Damn. Really, Cam?
Mr. McLean said.
Oh, he said they don't want that smoke.
Hey, Mr. McLean, please realize how you grew up and where you grew up and what you was watching when you was growing up.
All right. So let's go to the next one, right? So Miss Tiffany Jordan.
Yes.
What is, and I have to say it like the comment said, what is your greatest homecoming memory as a student?
I would have to say hanging with my friends on the yard and getting into trouble. And that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave it at that. It was great.
I wasn't going to ask you any specifics. I was just going to say that's the third story. We have getting locked out of my room, homecoming step shows, and just getting into trouble. A general getting into trouble. We ain't gonna ask no questions. We just appreciate you sharing. Look, so all right, so Denzel Walls, this last one is on you, and we're gonna close it out. And we appreciate you all for coming on this call today. And shout out to our VC Media Network that is hosting this call. So you see the lights in the back, you see how the questions are coming up. Shout out to Mr. Curtis Sumner. And we can clap up, put some claps in the chat because he's literally producing all of this and making it look very, very professional. And we appreciate him. So lastly, Mr. Denzel Walls, I know you graduated in 2021, but what is your greatest homecoming memory as a student?
I enjoyed the three that I did have. My last one was virtual, but I would say my junior year, 2019. So you all remember, we usually we would party in Mass Hall. We used to call it Club Mass, but it was taken away from us for so long. And they just finally, we got them to let up, and we was able to finally get it back Club Mass, one night only. And it was a great time. So.
There we go. So we got I lost my key and nobody could get in the room. We got homecoming step shows. We just got trouble, period, right? Just trouble. And then we got the parties came back. What did you call it? Mass Hall? How did you
Club
Mass?
Club Mass.
Club Mass. Wow.
Club Mass on the end of it.
Club Mass.
So, look, man, we appreciate you all coming on and joining us. This has been a very enjoyable and informative conversation. We've had some laughs and you guys had some memories. And to wrap it up, we want to make sure that we shout out Mr. Mares, and so he'll be joining us now. Just sharing some quick words before we close.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much. First, let me thank Mr. Du, who did a wonderful job again this year hosting our Alumni Showcase. He always does great, and as long as I'm here, he will continue to do it as long as he's here, because he's awesome at it. Thank you to the esteemed alumni. You guys are awesome. You guys rock. Thank you for the riveting conversation. I think our students will get a lot from what they heard today, and I just want to thank you guys for pouring into them. One of the things that we talk about here at Career Pathways is just career success. We talk about success, and I'm not going to keep you long because you guys went over again this year. But so let me leave this with you. I heard that Mr. Anson Garlington. Well, let me shout out Mr. Anson Garlington right quick, because the last in-person alumni showcase we had, he came to Voorhees to do. So, I thought then that our students really needed to hear from him again. So when we called this year, he was like, "Yep, let's do it. I'm ready. Let's get it going." So it's awesome that he did this again. But we were talking about our students not being average, and one of our goals at Career Pathways is for all our students to be successful. And so I'll leave you with a quote that my dad used to always share with me, and he used to say, "Expect more than others think is possible. Dream more than others think is practical, and risk more than others think is safe." And I live by that, and that's what my dad did, and that's what I want for all our Voorhees students. And you guys as alumni, you poured that into our students today. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank everybody for watching. And I want to invite alumni to come and show up and be a part of we have a professional mentoring program in the schools. If you want to be a professional mentor to our students, contact the deans, have them set you up, and they'll be glad to have you mentor one of our students. There's a process that they'll go through, but we need more alumni to come and be professional mentors for our students. So if you can't get in contact with the dean, contact me, contact Mr. Clemens, and we will get that done. Thank you, everybody, for everything.
All right, my last question for you all, really quickly before you leave. My last question is it safe to say that the VC pride has never died? Is it safe to say?
It is safe to say.
It is safe to say the VC pride will never die.
Never.
Die.
Never.
Yeah.
All right, thank you all again for joining. Please look at the bottom of the screen, and you can text to give. You can text I am VC Strong to 41444. Again, you can text I am VC Strong to 41444 to make a donation today. Actually, to make a donation right now. So if the VC pride has never died, you all can literally make a donation, and we would be very, very grateful. Dr. Whitaker said it too, that the VC pride, it will never die. If you can, and if you're watching, if it would never die, you can just say it in the comments, because all of our panelists said that it'll never die. So thank you all again. Have a great day. And to our panelists, I'm pretty sure that we got to do this again.
Absolutely.
So put it on your calendars for next year.
Sounds
we got to do
good.
it again.
Let us know.
Y'all have a great day.
You
You too.